Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 12 of Backspace Nomads. Today on the pod, we are going to be taking a look at the new indie adventure game Paradigm. Our guest for today is going to be the one and only Sequisha, where he's going to come on and do a point-counterpoint with us and then share his time of game. My name is Brian, and my co-host from Parts Unknown is Monica. Monica, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been great. I think I worked way too much, and I think I might be spreading myself a little bit too thin. But thankfully, the CEO of the company that I work for has been trying to scare the shit out of me all week, and it's been working. So as long as he keeps doing that and I keep drinking plenty of coffee, I should be fine. But interestingly enough, and it will kind of tie into Paradigm, or as I like to call it, Paradigm. I was talking with one of the women that I work with, and we're talking about glamour babies. Apparently, there was a TED Talk she had listened to, and this is no joke, something we had discussed this week, about the science behind being able to create the own child of your dreams and the problems that can occur from that.
This is exciting.
It is very exciting. You can have your own 6 foot tall, muscular, genius, tan child if you want, or you could, if you've always wanted like a little person baby, you could have that. Like whatever you want. Why is
You're
that
not
funny?
going over
Maybe
5'3".
people want that. Okay, well, you
if
can.
my parents could
engineer,
go back in time.
But the only problem is that it's expensive.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure.
Really, only rich people get to have these perfect babies that are geniuses. What is going to happen, guys? I don't know. Anyway, that's
You're
been
making
my
a
week.
super
Outside
baby.
of that,
This isn't cheap. Super babies are expensive, all right?
they are. They're very expensive. Anyway, how about you?
Pretty crazy week, just I had my brother's wedding, my older brother. Went there, got him wed. I know him.
Got him wed.
Got him wed.
So
that's how we do it in the South.
We got him wed.
I know he listens to the pod, so congratulations to him and his wonderful new wife now. Thank you for having me there. I kind of fucked up the best man speech. I was the best man, yes. I thought it was going great. I was like, all right, I'm nailing this. This is going good. I wrapped it up, and I turned and looked at him like, good job, right? He goes, the fucking toast. The toast. He's like pointing at his glass. I'm like, oh, yeah. Let me do the toast.
And now we drink.
Yeah.
Hurrah.
So, I don't know. I'd never want to be a best man again. That's way too much responsibilities for me.
Do you think anyone else would trust you to be their best man?
Not if they're at that wedding. No, absolutely not. That is not going to be a thing. Star Wars celebrations in Orlando this week. I work right next to where the convention center, so I've been seeing all those nerds out in their stormtrooper gear. They're the Darth Vaders, the Leias who shouldn't be Leias, if you know what I mean. It's kind of nice to see nerds just fully in their element and unabashed about who they are. It's been pretty exciting. I fed the 500th and 1st Legion, I guess, or the Stormtroopers that they're called, and that's been my week. Those people have been nuts, just ruining every day of my life, being at work too much. Spread way too thin.
That's probably how they feel at PAX,
yes.
when PAX comes.
Yes. So
these freaks.
I'm just going to go to every restaurant we attend, when we go to conventions, and just apologize profusely. We ruined your life. I'm sorry.
Yep.
So let's move in to Paradigm. You ruined it for me. I'm never going to be able to do this now. So Paradigm, you can find it on Steam for $14.99. It was released April 5th from Jacob Janerka, the developer and publisher. Paradigm is a point-and-click adventure game set in a surreal fantasy world. The main character, named Paradigm, is a result of a failure of a company called Dupa Genetics, the Prodigy Children creating company. While creating a certain prodigy child, a horrible mistake was happened, and Paradigm was mutated into what we Now he's like, what does he look like? A big mushroom-headed dude, I guess.
I would say that he looks like a thumb on a thumb.
A thumb on a thumb. There you go. With a few warts on it too.
Yeah, a warty thumb with a thumb.
So our warty thumb is dumped into an abandoned Soviet bloc town. He is a entrepreneur trying to become a DJ, spinning the fat beats.
Yeah, the fat beats.
Fat beats, PH. You know, it's real 90s. In this game, you're going to encounter amazingly weird characters, from a 2-foot drug dealer riding a elderly man on roller skates to genetically modified sloths and a knight who serves as a secretary. What the fuck did you think about this game?
Well, my expectations were, just based off the art style, I was thinking immediately Earthworm Jim, which I loved. Earthworm Jim franchise. I kind of like had a weird worm crush on him.
Yeah.
Which I am not ashamed to say, but I feel like I should be. And I also was thinking of Grim Fandango. Obviously, that's his historical point-and-click adventure. And my expectations were that I knew this was going to be weird. I wanted it to be weird, and I thought it was gonna. I really thought it was gonna prevail. Those were my expectations. What about you?
Yeah, like screenshots of this game, looking at the artwork, it's just out there. It's like there's weird games, and then there's like this game that just takes it further. I was really excited to get in there. You could tell this developer. I don't know like if it's a team or not. It's a weird name for a development team if it is, but it looked like they were having fun making it just by all the craziness and nonsense going on. So I was excited to get in this game. I don't think I've played a point-and-click adventure since Leisure Suit Larry 20 years ago, maybe. Like, how long has it been since I picked up a game like this? I couldn't even remember.
Right.
So, what are the things you kind of like about Paradigm?
Okay, so I guess the most powerful element of this is, I would say, the thought put into every character.
Yes.
There's no character that you run into in this game that hasn't been thought out, and that doesn't have. It seems like they put a story behind every single one. Mm-hmm. So there's no NPCs or no other players in the game, and I shouldn't use the term player because it's single player, but there are no other characters in this game that you run into that just don't have a purpose. Even if they're short-lived, there was effort put into them, and I really, really liked that.
Yep. I'm going to agree with that. Like, from the, literally there is a potted beat who described that he just spits beats for money. The computer character you first encounter, that's like your computer as a Paradigm's computer, he has a whole thing where he's like an asshole to his owner. All the characters really matter, and I think like the developers really loved the game that they were making. Everything's very unique in it. I don't think I've ever seen art style quite like this. In the video games, definitely not. It almost felt like an Adult Swim TV show. We played a video game from Adult Swim last week to review, and this week it felt like this art style would fit perfectly on their channel and whatever show they're doing, because it's just beautiful and weird, and like I loved every bit of what they made. Yep.
I also, the art style, speaking to that, outside of just the character development, the art style was definitely on my list as well. I felt like I was just playing a meme.
Yes.
This game is just a fucking giant meme. That's what it is. It's a giant freaking meme, and like everything's a meme. Everything is. I don't know. But I liked it. You know, we're a meme generation.
It's a point-and-click meme.
We can't escape memes. This is just who we are, and I feel like this game does a good job of using that and running with it and being the best at it, you know. But I guess the final thing that I really enjoyed about it was just the cutting of the story. There are multiple points where you're going into like advertisements or this or that. They do a really good job of keeping the story fresh throughout. Really the story in and of itself is really wild, but the cutting, the editing, I would say, I'm sure they had a plan for this, storyboarded out, but the editing of it and how they spliced it up was done well.
And I think to go back to your meme point, this game is funny. Like, it's laugh out loud funny when you're hearing some of the text going on. And I think that's something that's really hard to pull off in any kind of written form, especially in gaming. Maybe it's just my particular type of humor, but I know my girlfriend was sitting next to me watching me play this, and she was laughing at a lot of the jokes and the gags they were pulling. So definitely kudos to them. I think my biggest thing is, like, it took me a little bit to kind of find my groove when I started playing this game because I haven't played one of these in so long, and it felt really weird at first. But once I kind of settled into my groove, I really started to love the game. And I think it was what you're talking about. It's like the editing, the pacing. You're not sitting in one scene for too long. This isn't a point-and-click game where there's going to be 30 or 40 objects to look at. It's just, it comes at you quick. Here's what you need to know. Maybe there's a few funny things, and then you're moving on to the next scene.
So I guess I was talking about the memes as far as the art style. I personally was not a huge fan. So that's actually my number one.
Of
the
things
humor.
we didn't like?
I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought that you're like,
why did we do a podcast together? You didn't think this game was funny? This thing was hilarious.
Okay. I thought that there were parts of it that were funny, but there were other parts where I was like, I'm not 12. No offense, Brian. But that just wasn't, there were some parts that were just it was reaching too hard. It was like trying to be funny throughout the entire game. It was trying to be wild throughout the entire game. And at certain points, it was exhausting a little bit for me. I will say, though, there were parts that were funny. I enjoyed, like, the beatboxing beat, like there were very clever parts, but then again, there were other parts where I just felt like this is getting a little tedious. But I also understand that humor is so subjective that a lot of people really like this. Yeah. It's just not totally my type of humor.
Yeah, I guess this is like kind of akin to like Family Guy. They do hit the nail on the head with the hammer. The jokes are like hitting you. They are really obvious. I'll give you that a little bit. I guess I am a little more juvenile. I would say more youthful in my humor.
I'm just an old hag. It's fine.
Yeah.
I understand.
Young at heart right here. I think my only dislikes I really pull from this game kind of have to come from just the genre of what it's playing in. I don't think adventure games are kind of my thing anymore. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I don't think I could dig into the genre any more than this game, except for like Telltale games. Because Telltale games are kind of like point-and-click adventure games, but they're taking point-and-click adventures and bringing it to a modern era, where this game is like specifically like you played when you're a kid on a floppy disk. That's what this game is. And like that's my biggest dislike is they really didn't do a lot to bring you to modernize the genre besides the art style and the sound, which are fantastic. But it's a point-and-click game that you could have played 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that. I think, though, that there is a love of that genre. So while I totally am with you, and that was actually one of the things I felt like I was playing an older game, and I didn't necessarily expect that because of the art style and everything, and because of the trailer. I thought I was going to be playing something a little bit different. So I was a little bit let down. But I think for the people that love this genre, you are going to be pleasantly surprised and happy with it.
Sure.
The last thing for me was just really that they dropped off a little bit. You're introduced to this sociological, like, issue of genetic engineering, and then it doesn't really run with it. The story is so broad, I guess is the best way to describe it, that it doesn't really focus in on that. And I was like, oh man, we are going to get into the nitty gritty of what we're going to do to these children. And I told you that we had talked about this at work earlier, and I'm like, this is so convenient.
Yeah.
Like, this game will solve these problems for us and it totally didn't do that. It just turned into like, we want to be an electronic musician, we need to put our EP out, we got to deal with the sloth that's puking, and And I know this is a total personal thing, but I wanted it to solve the world's problems, and it didn't. So well, that is a negative for me.
There.
Yeah.
I guess like for my final thoughts on the game, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're looking for a point-and-click adventure, you kind of want to dip back into genre and revisit your youth a little bit, get a little crazy and nostalgic about it. This is definitely the game to do it in. I wish they could have done more to update it a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. This is a really good game. It's a solid $15 buy for me. What about you? Final thoughts?
I'm a thumbs medium.
Thumbs
I'm a thumb
medium.
sideways. I'm a medium thumb.
Heard that.
I only have a hard time giving this game a solid thumbs up just because when I think about all the people that I know, if I was to just say, you have to go out and buy this game, I think that some people might be disappointed just because of my main issue with it being a little bit, the humor being a little bit tedious at times. Mm-hmm. However, I cannot give it a thumbs down either because it is an entertaining game and it will provide some laughs. You're also going to get a decent amount of gameplay out of this.
Oh, yeah.
For a point-and-click adventure. Those can sometimes go very quickly and you're getting a decent amount of gameplay and you'll have fun. So I'm a medium thumb. I'm a midway thumb.
Holding it sideways.
I'm a thumb on a thumb, but it's going sideways.
There you go. Paradigm. You can find it on Steam for $14.99 from Jacob Janurka, developed and published by them. One thumbs up, one thumb sideways from the Backspace Nomads. So now we're going to go to intermission, my friends. And when we come back, Sequisha, our guest, will be on to partake in a point counterpoint and a time of game. So stick around for that. Before we head to break, let me just give you guys a reminder. You can find our Twitter at Backspace Nomads to keep up with us on everything we do. We also have a blog, backspacenomads.blog. We just put up an article today, Top 5 Gaming Hunks.
Oh, yeah. You guys have to go check that out. Top 5 Gaming Hunks. I wrote it.
Yes.
It's accurate.
It was great.
It's very, very accurate.
Yep. So definitely check that out. This is also a podcast for you guys out there who want to know about that. SoundCloud.com/Backspace Nomads if you want to drive to work and listen to this nonsense. And there's the train. That's our cue. We're going to go to intermission. We'll be right back, everybody, with Sequisha. Welcome back. Thank you for sitting through that intermission. On the show today, we have Sequisha. You can find him on Twitter at Sequisha, Sequisha. He streams on twitch.tv/Sequisha. How you doing, man? Welcome to Backspace Nomads.
Good.
How you doing tonight?
Doing well. Rocking and rolling.
You look like you're doing well.
Yeah. I got a little bit of the crown this evening.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
we're good.
no.
I haven't drank since PAX East, but you know.
Oh.
How long ago was PAX?
This is such a treat.
It was like the second week of March or something, I think.
Okay.
Or wait, hold on. Something like that. I don't know.
That's a good little break.
Yeah.
Little tolerance break for you.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was like the 19th, I think, in March. Something like that.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get started on Twitch here as a streamer?
I started out doing. I was going to school for like game development, like 3D artwork and animation and all that kind of stuff. And I have like a fly in here. Anyway, yeah, for that, and so I started working on a DayZ mod, a mod of DayZ mod called Epoch. Because I was working on 3D artwork shit, and I started streaming on there wasn't a creative section like there is now, but there was a creative category. Like the category's been there for a while, but the actual section itself wasn't, or whatever. But yeah, and I started streaming on there, doing 3D work, working on Epoch when we were working on new assets or whatever. So it was kind of like because we were doing a lot of pretty frequent updates. So anyone that was interested about the new patch coming out, they could actually see the shit being made. And so that was kind of interesting for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I know you haven't always had that mustache, because even
No.
on your Twitter there's a picture of you mustacheless.
Mm-hmm.
So is that something that's evolved with you as you've gamed, or where did the
I mean, kind of. Like
Yeah.
I actually had it like 3.5 years ago ish, and it's the same reason. Like I was working on Epoch stuff, and I wasn't really leaving the house much except for like go to town, to fucking get supplies and shit. And
Right.
and I looked like this homeless dude, just like just gnarly looking, beard, and shaved it all off whenever I wanted to go out to like go see a show or something downtown. And then because I thought it would be funny, 'cause anyone that knew me, it would totally look like a total porn thing,
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I thought it would be really funny. Anyone that saw me would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But in the same token, whenever I went out like that, I'd have all these very strange women that were really, really into it, and it was really weird. So it was like, so I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of interesting to get a response. People were approaching me that it hadn't, ever, approached me before, and it was kind of
Right.
interesting. But I did that for a little while, and then I got rid of it, and then I streamed more, and then I did the same thing where I was finishing up college and was in like crunch time. Working on a game. It was like a final project type thing, and same thing. I wasn't really streaming, and if I was streaming, I don't think I was streaming with a cam at the time. And yeah, kind of the same cycle happened there.
So it was an inspiration from laziness, truly,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and then has become its own, and like
It's entity.
anomaly
Yeah.
almost. Yeah,
Yeah,
its
yeah.
own entity.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it for like audio
Yeah,
listeners to this podcast. Like if you took
It
3
looks like-
fingers and put it across your like face, that's how thick it is. It is amazing.
No, I can just. It looks like a Disney broom that it would brush itself across the floor. You know what I mean? But it somehow attached itself onto Sequisha's face, and it's just sitting there magically waiting for its next mission. I mean, that's what I would.
Maybe
That's how
that-
I would just.
Maybe that's the chicks who dig it. They're into like Disney movies.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's kind of the thing too. Like I made a point not to like comb it all the time this time, because whenever I had
Yeah.
it previously, because it was like a thing. Like I never wore facial hair at all. If anything, I
Yeah.
had like little silly chops for a while. Nothing crazy. But
Right.
whenever I combed it all the time, it ended up looking so uniform that it looked like faker than it looks now. Or it
Right.
did look
Yeah.
like a push broom. It was just like straight across fucking. So yeah, I've made a point not to do that, so it gets kind of like these
Yeah, yeah.
natural groupings or whatever. Anyway,
Very,
silliness.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you for doing this for the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move into our point counterpoint for the evening. In point counterpoint, Monica and Sequisha will go head to head, mano a mano, and deal with a topic in gaming. This week, PC gamers versus console gamers. Sequisha is going to take up the side of PC gaming. Monica is going to be taking up the side of the console gamers.
Yes.
And Sequisha is putting on his.
Oh God. Wait,
Police
we
officer
need to
sunglasses.
elaborate on this a little bit. This isn't just PC gaming's good or console gaming's good. It is you are only a gamer if you only PC game, or you are only a gamer if you only console game. We don't take the middle ground here. So I am fighting for console gaming. As I'm sitting at my PC, but nevertheless, and Sequisha is fighting for PC gaming, and he is now wearing aviators. So I don't know what that means for me, but
You're in
I'm
trouble.
starting to.
It means-
I'm starting to sweat.
It means you're gonna get wrecked.
All right.
We'll take it off.
So, Monica, console gamers, why are you the best gamers on the planet?
So for one, similarly to humanity coming from Adam and Eve, gaming came from the console. in the gaming Bible, console was created, and therefore gamer was created from a part of the console. I've read this Bible. I wrote it, but I've also read it, and that's what it says in there. So when I would argue that Pong is the first video game out there, and that was introduced to the public, and that was on a console, motherfuckers. So console gaming not only created video games, and you can't move away from that. Consoles for the win. I mean, it's the creator.
Sequisha, why are you so against the creation of gaming? What's wrong with you?
I mean, the creation of game. I mean, honestly though, I think the first like Pong. I mean, they were all ran on the computer to begin with, right? And they were ported to console, right? No, I mean, I don't know. As far as I don't know, the creation of gaming. I mean, I know things have definitely evolved to where it's at PC now, and it was, I guess, on console before. I mean, I grew up playing, NES and Super Nintendo and all that, but I don't know, man.
So you used to be a real gamer.
Yeah, right. I used to be a real gamer.
So what happened? What happened to your PC transformation that took you away from your console roots?
I think it probably had to do more with the amount, like on console, just being able to connect with other people in games was what it was primarily.
Monica, why don't you like to connect with people? Why are you just sitting on your console by yourself?
I would disagree with that. I might not be able to connect to everyone through console gaming, but you can still connect. And plus, a lot of the games that are available on console gaming, I don't need to connect with people. I'm an independent person, and I don't need people. I'm not a needy person, so I don't need to have any friends. Okay, and so therefore, console gaming. But I also want to make a statement here.
This is the place.
Consoles make up a sexy home decor piece. And if you want feng shui in your life, and you want to be able to bring somebody over and have them be impressed, you don't want a fucking plant.
Sure.
You want a console. And, I will say that a lot of people that came over and saw, unless you put a lot of money and a lot of effort into your PC, I would say that a lot of people would look at your gigantic PC game, tower, and they would say there should be a plant on that. So from a home decor perspective, consoles, very, very important.
Fair enough. Sequisha, you're not comfortable being by yourself as a PC gamer. Why don't you like feng shui? Do you not like balance in your life?
Right. I don't have anyone come to my house, okay? So if I had console, I'd have fucking 3 extra controllers with dust on them. And an expensive TV that I wouldn't watch. That's just me, though.
Monica, you got too much money to throw around? You got too many TVs to look at?
Well, you can never have too many TVs because you need to have all the news stations on it all the time just in case the world happens to be ending, and you want to be the first to be aware of that, right? That's really important to the average person.
Well, you're going to be safe up in your castle, apparently.
Right, yeah, exactly. But I also think that, when thinking about console gaming, the reason why real gamers play on console... I can't even say that without laughing. Is that issues with console gaming are a bonding experience, whereas issues with PC are Geek Squad circle jerks.
Sequisha, why?
I specifically want to say here that the Red Ring of Death was basically a wedding ring between gamers at the time. While it might not have been a happy marriage, it was still something that bonded everyone together.
Sure. Sequisha doesn't like to bond with people. You just like to be in lonely circle jerks. Is that correct? Is that why you're a PC gamer?
Yeah, and actually, whenever everyone was always talking about that red circle of death thing on Xbox. Which one was that? Xbox 360? That was the main
360,
thing,
yeah.
or was it one?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have that. I think the last console that I owned was a GameCube, and I used to hear people complain about that all the time, and I'm just like, well, like I never have to fucking deal with that shit. I mean, honestly, like with PC, it was always kind of, I had to worry about other shit. It was like, man, like, is this video card that I fucking drove 2 hours, is this gonna even fit into my fucking computer? I did that once. That was really shitty. I bought it was an AGP card, and all I had was a PCI Express slot. I drove like 2 hours at this fucking thing, and then like was like, man, like trying to shove this thing into my fucking computer. Yeah, that didn't work out too well. But yeah, I don't know. The whole I don't know. Maybe I'm out of the loop. Maybe I've lost touch with reality.
No, I'll give the last word to Monica, who apparently doesn't like to take risks. You like to play it safe and just have everything ready for you. Last word to you.
I win.
She wins. I can't even call this one. It's so close.
Let us know on Twitter.
Yeah,
Who do
let us
you
know
think-
on Twitter.
Yeah, let us know. Tweet at us at Backspace Nomads and let us know, do you think if you are only a gamer, listening to the points that have been made today, are you only a gamer if you only play PC? Are you there are too many O's here, only a gamer if you only play console? And you have to take one stance or the other. So tweet at us and let us know what you think. I don't get to call my own win here. I just do that anyway, because the
Every time.
competitiveness. in me.
Every time.
Yeah, I'm always a winner in my book.
So that's our point, counterpoint. Let's move into our main segment for the night. Our time of game. Sequisha, tell us, what is your time of game?
Okay, time of game. There's many I had to go through because there were so many from so many different consoles, mainly from PlayStation and Super Nintendo, all the different games I played on that. One moment in time that really stuck out was when I was playing World of Warcraft, and I was working as a maintenance supervisor at an apartment community. I lived on site at a free apartment, that whole ordeal, and it was right when I took vacation time. I was there like 2.5, 3 years almost at this point. I took vacation time for the Wrath of the Lich King release, and I'd been
Okay.
Yeah, I was dating during this time. I was dating this girl. This is such a convoluted, like, crazy story.
Well, wait.
Yeah.
First off, how many units were at this apartment complex that you
Oh,
had to take care of?
there's like 300.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's a really big.
Yeah, it was
Big ass place.
It was a good site. I only had one technician there with me, so it was
Okay.
it was a lot of work. But since I was there for more than a year, that I had pretty much gone through and had hands on at every apartment just about. So the place is in
Okay.
pretty good shape,
And when you say hands-on, you also met that girlfriend at that apartment complex. right?
Yeah.
So you had your hands on that one unit
That's right. There,
a little bit
Or at least
more
she
so
did.
that's right.
than the average tenant.
Now that was a crazy story. She was hot, like from afar, or whatever. Anyway, so like, I mean, it was kind of one of those ones where like, oh man, she's pretty cute, and then like the more like closer you get, and you're just kind of like, I don't know. There's always,
happening?
yeah. Oh, I don't know. Anyway,
It's the real life. It's
Yeah.
a real life filter.
yeah.
Distance.
Yeah, so that story is kind of crazy. Right when they moved in there, they moved down from Michigan. She moved in there with her fiance, okay? But while they were moving stuff into the apartment, he was with his like brothers or whatever, and she found out because she was a private investigator too. She found out that he had been cheating on her the entire time. So the day they moved in there, she gave him back the engagement ring, and she was like, well, fuck, and I'm down here with you. You're just going to pay for everything, and I'm just here, He was like, all right, whatever. Because he was like,
What?
yeah.
Sounds really convenient.
Yeah. And
I should have asked more exes to cheat. Because then you just have to pay for everything, and
Had so much
And
investment
you're in
money.
trouble now, so you'll pay for everything for me.
Yeah, but we had dated a bit, and I was still playing World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade at the time, and we yeah, I don't know, it's all this crazy stuff. But anyway, their lease was coming up, and I think he was gonna end up moving back up there. And she was like, "Well, am I like she was actually living with me like for a couple months. She's like, am I like staying with you or am I going back? Like what's going on?" And I was just like, I'm thinking, Red Lich King coming out, and I got a vacation coming up. Fucking see you. I know it sounds kind of silly, but we weren't doing too hot anyway, and I didn't really have there wasn't a whole lot of trust in that relationship to begin with. But kind of started on kind of a on weird terms, but. Yeah, I played a lot of Wrath of the Lich King. It was crazy. Like, the beginning of that expansion was fucking pretty amazing, I would say.
So you planned all this out, though. I mean, you were planning your time around the game.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I was. And it was totally, things were kind of, my company was starting to, like, kind of go down the shitter, too. They were selling off all of our sister properties. They were going to be selling the one that I was at, too. And and it was a staycation, like I took the vacation time, but I lived on site, so it was always like I was always kind of on call and all that kind of thing anyway. So while I'm on vacation, they're like, "Well, we see your truck there." It's like, look, it's my fucking vacation time. Am I supposed to like leave the country or something? Like, I don't know. So that was kind of annoying. That was one thing I hated about living on site, like at your work all the time, is just not being able to escape it.
Yeah, bosses are the worst, man. Like. How dare you, sir?
Yeah.
I'm grinding. Wow, can you just leave my truck alone?
Yeah.
How long
much.
was your vacation
gonna
be?
It was like 2 weeks. I fucking crushed. Okay. Yeah, it was like we were doing crazy shit. We were doing like raiding content while people were still figuring out fucking questing. We're going pretty hard.
Like you're a very serious World of Warcraft player?
I was.
How many hours a day do you think you put into that game?
I don't know. I had several characters. There was like 2 characters that had like 2 years in game played, like logged in game.
Okay.
Like, a lot of it was AFK time or crafting time or whatever. Who knows? But yeah, it was a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole lot of time.
What was your favorite class from that expansion?
From that expansion, I ended up liking. I played Warrior. Was one of my favorites. I no longer played a mage. I played a mage throughout most of Burning Crusade, but so Warrior, and I also tried a Death Knight. Didn't really like them, but I played a Ret Paladin, like DPS Ret Paladin, and I fucking did like crazy damage. Ret Paladin was pretty disgusting. But yeah.
So you're on your staycation, and you sent your girlfriend back up to Michigan when her ex-fiance that lived in the same apartment complex as you, but she was living with you, was leaving. So there wasn't really any reason for her to necessarily move because he was moving, but she didn't have that backup, right? Like she just wasn't staying with him. She was staying with you at your place.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an official thing. It was just like, why would I stay in the apartment with him when I'm having intimate relations with this other man? Kind of, am I getting that right?
Yeah, totally. Okay. I mean, that was kind of like just a financial security thing for her, because he was kind of paying for everything. And I guess the idea was if he left and he went back up there, that, if shit hit the fan, she wasn't going to have, the money to do whatever. So.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. So then you play this for 2 weeks straight, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
And then what?
Oh, and then what? Okay, so then after that, probably not very long after that, after returning back to work, I ended up getting laid off. And, they ended up selling the property and all kinds of shit. And, so that was pretty crazy. But if that didn't happen, well, I worked a bit in maintenance after that, too. But and I ended up getting laid off from another one as well. If all that didn't happen, I certainly wouldn't be here. There's no doubt about that. It's the best thing that could have happened in all reality.
How so?
Well, I mean, I think about it, and I always thought about this when I was there. I was always the youngest, maintenance supervisor whenever I met with all the other the other guys that were, you know, much older than me, like more than twice my age, that just hated their fucking lives, you know. I was like, man, I don't want to be one of these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were like, this is me. Like,
It's
yay.
kind of one of those like show up somewhat sober and you're the foreman type of deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you feel like, since they knew that you were at the property, and did you feel that resulted in, and you took 2 weeks off, which is a pretty significant amount of time, I would say.
Yeah.
Did you feel as though that resulted in being laid off at all?
No,
or-
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. You can never tell. Like sometimes, I mean, now that wasn't really. I don't think that was really related to it. 'Cause it wasn't just me. Like everybody at the property pretty much got, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they ended up like new ownership and everything. So it was kind of one of those things that was gonna happen, whatever the case. So it's probably a good
Did your
thing.
ex know, or was she ever jealous
Of me playing?
of World of Warcraft? And did she know that
Oh, yeah.
you were like, man, she's gonna need my attention, and I'm not gonna be able to provide it.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, kind of. That was kind of a. I think it was an ordeal because like she, you know, I don't know. That's always been a thing because games have always been a large part of my life, and that's why you know I'm not in a relationship now because I know like with the amount of time I put into streaming and that kind of thing, there's just no way I'm gonna be able to give somebody, you know, the time they need,
Right.
you know. So
Yep. I actually, we have a blog post on this exact kind of situation.
Yes.
A little bit. It's similar, but it's about figuring out how to be a gamer and also how to date and not be a shitty partner. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you recognize that. You know, I feel like that's really important. So, all right, well, awesome. Any recommendations that you have for people, like 2 weeks in, you plan this out, obviously you put some effort into making sure that you're gonna have your time alone? Like, do you still game that way? Do you still look into releases coming out in the future and kind of planning around them?
I mean, I don't really have to do that anymore. It's kind of like whenever anything new comes out or whatever, I'm just like, well, that's what I'm playing, and that's what we like to call no lifing over on my channel. Like, yeah, that comes out, we're gonna be like, when Friday the 13th comes out, we're gonna be no lifing the fuck out of that, like I did in the beta. That's a really good game. I would recommend any of you playing that when that comes out.
Yeah, I brought it up to Brian after you had mentioned it to me.
Yeah.
I was telling him about it.
Yeah. I remember checking out some of the beta. It is a very interesting game.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And how's your relationship with World of Warcraft nowadays?
Oh, I haven't played since Cataclysm, so it's been like 3 expansions ago. Actually, I haven't played a Blizzard title. Okay, so I played Cataclysm, then I played into Diablo 3, and then they had this scammy shit with the real money auction house and all that. I sold a couple items for $250, which is the maximum you could sell in there.
Woo!
And after that was it. I haven't touched a Blizzard title since, up to and including Overwatch. So
Right.
There you go.
I'm done with Blizzard.
Well, Sequisha, thank you for coming on and sharing your time of game with us.
No problem.
Yeah, it's been great having you, dude.
It's been fun.
Yeah, you can find them on twitch.tv/Sequisha or on Twitter @Sequisha. That's it for episode 12 of Backspace Nomads. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.